what's up, book lovers? It's Tabby. Welcome back to another non-edited, crapalicious, awesome-tastic new video. Today, I'm bringing you a late January book haul. So, I think we should just get right into it, because my sister has interrupted me so many times, I cannot even believe this is like my 7th time filming. So, here we go. I have read 8 books this month and 5 manga/graphic novels. Let's get right into it. The first book that I read was In Real Life by Cory Doctorow, probably butchering that, and Jen Wang. This graphic novel was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's about this girl gamer. That's pretty much what I'm going to say about it. But part of it is from the in real life, and then part is in the video game. It's a really great book, and I really recommend this graphic novel. It was probably one of my first graphic novels, actually my first graphic novel that I've ever read, and it was perfect for my first graphic novel. I'm saying graphic novel so many times, but you know, it was really good. So pick up In Real Life. It was really good. The next book I read was Amulet the Stone Keeper by Kazu Kibuishi. And I'm sure everyone knows what this is about because it's super popular on BookTube. But it's a kids graphic novel, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say, but I'm pretty sure you know what this is about. 2 kids, father dies, they move into a new house, stone keeper, they find it, and it holds lots of power, and then they go into a different world. Their mom gets kidnapped, and they need to save her. So it's a really great book, and I definitely recommend this graphic novel. Amulet by Kazu Kibuishi. The next book I read was Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This book was very good. Actually, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and it's basically about this girl named, what's her name again? Sophie? Yeah, Sophie. And she is living a normal life in middle school. And one day, this guy comes up, or I forgot what his name is, but he comes to her school secretly, and he kind of tells her about this stuff, and she understands none of it. And she goes to this world where elves live, and she figures out stuff, and it's really cool, and it reminded me quite a bit of Harry Potter, but it was very different in some ways, and I really, really liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars just because some of the middle of it, I got tiny bit bored with all the sassy middle school drama at the magic school, and so, yeah. But I still really enjoyed it, so Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, definitely recommend that book. I read a lot of good books this month. So the next book I read was The Venge-Keep Prophecies by Bryan Ferry. I showed this in my last book haul. It was so good. I can't even believe it. Probably my favorite book I read this month, but it was outstanding, and I loved it so much. I really don't know how to explain what it's about, but it's not a high fantasy or anything like really high fantasy. And the one thing I loved about it is there's this kid named Jackster. He's not trying to save the world or anything. He's saving only a town. And the one town. So I really like that about this book, that it's not saving the world like every single middle grade novel, which is great, and I love that about it, and it was so funny. I laughed out loud a lot, and so please read The Venge-Keep Prophecies by Bryan Ferry. It was just a great book. And the next book I read was The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I haven't seen the movie yet, so yeah. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was very entertaining. I keep on saying every book was very entertaining, but it was pretty entertaining, and it was very fast-paced. The first few chapters were kind of slow and kind of weird. I didn't like some of the characters. I really liked Chuck and Minnow, and Chuck and Thomas's relationship. I'm sure you know what this book is about. It's The Maze Runner. I thought it was very interesting book, original, great YA book. I really did not like the ending, though. I didn't think it ended well, and I don't think this could... It could probably be just one book. Maybe the author had more in mind, but I don't know if I'm going to pick up the Scorch Trials. I might. I'm not quite sure, though. So the next book I read was Insurgent by Veronica Roth. I really liked this. It was very fun, and I have heard that it was boring, but I really liked it, and it was very interesting. So Insurgent, yeah. Basically, I'm sure you know what Divergent's about, but I read Insurgent. It was very, very fun, and I really liked it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And actually, I've read Allegiant, but it's not in January, so... but I really liked Insurgent. I did not like it quite as much as Divergent, though, but I still really enjoyed it. And the next book I read was The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman, and this is the second book in his Dark Materials trilogy. I have a first review up of The Golden Compass, and I really enjoyed The Golden Compass. And The Subtle Knife, I think I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars, or 4 stars, maybe 5. I don't know. Whatever. The thing is that The Subtle Knife, or The Golden Compass, basically follows this girl named Lyra, and they live in this world where they have things called daemons. And daemons are, you're pretty much your soul. You don't have a soul in your body, but your soul is like kind of this animal. And which is pretty cool, but you still have a soul, but you don't, I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, it's really interesting and complicated. So I don't know how to explain it, but it's very, very good. The Golden Compass was. And so was The Subtle Knife. The beginning of The Subtle Knife was a little bit daft or dry. I just thought it was kind of boring. And then after like the second half, I was just hooked in. I loved it. And one thing I did have a problem with, I did not really like Will that much. He was okay. He was an okay character. I just didn't think he was as good as Lyra. So that's pretty much what I thought about The Subtle Knife. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, I think. I really liked it still. And the next book I read was Champion by Marie Lu. I read Prodigy last summer, which is a long time ago, but I never picked up Champion for some reason because I never found it at my library, and I had no urge to pick it up for, like, actually buy it because I always wanted to buy the box set, and then I always didn't buy the box set when I had enough money for it. But I finally read Champion, and I loved it, and it was great. I loved it pretty much as Prodigy. I didn't like Legend as much as Champion, but I thought it was a perfect ending. Perfect ending to the series. Like, seriously, Marie Lu, that was the best ending I've ever read. It was just so sweet and so great. So you should definitely pick up this series, the Legend series by Marie Lu, if you haven't. It's a pretty short series, so it was so good. I love Champion. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah. And the next book I read was a graphic novel, or not a graphic novel, a manga, and this was Pokemon Black and White by, what's his name? The story is by Hidenori Kusuka. I'm so butchering this. Kasaka and Satoshi Yamamoto. I'm sorry. I read this and it was pretty good. I honestly forgot what it was about. It's Pokemon. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but it's Pokemon. It's a very short manga. But yeah. And the next book I read was Amulet Volume 2, and I got this from my library. When I saw it, I was like, OMG. And I just needed it. So I got it, and I read it, and I loved it even more than the first one. At first, I was really going to rate it a low rating because it was so much like The Lord of the Rings. I was like, this is a ripoff. Because there was literally, like, scenes that were like The Lord of the Rings. There were, like, scenes, full scenes that were from it. I could guarantee, but with just different characters. But I thought to myself, I can't judge a book because it's not as good as another book. And I can't judge a book because it's just like another thing, because I'm sure Kazukabushi might be a Lord of the Rings fan, but I still really enjoyed this, and it was very fun, so I decided not to judge this by the Lord of the Rings and think of that, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I still highly enjoyed this book, and it was a great sequel for the Amulet series, and I can't wait to pick up the third one. And the next book I read was manga, and this is Yotsuba by Kaiohiko. Yikes. Kaiohaka Azuma. But this was so funny and cute. I loved this, and I haven't read the first one, but my sister really likes this series. And yeah, she just really likes it, and she says you don't really need to read it in order of the series because there's not really any specific plot points that happen. But I really like this, and it's sort of a collection of short stories. But it's so funny and so cute. So I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read was Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I really enjoyed this book. Like, really enjoyed it. It was such a good fantasy, and I read it in a few days. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's basically told from 4 perspectives, and there's like 4 kingdoms. Well, there's like 4 kingdoms, and they all are at war, and it's so good, and it's such a good book. So, yeah. It's basically about a princess, a rebel, a sorceress, and an heir. And the princess is named Cleo, and the rebel is Jonas. And the sorceress is Lucia, and the heir is Magnus, I think. And I really enjoyed this, and I love the romance in it. It was a great book. So you should definitely pick this up, and I'm hoping to pick up Rebel Spring pretty soon. Pick up Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. 5 out of 5 stars. Boom. And the last book I read this month was The Boundless by Kenneth Opel. I pretty much picked this up because I saw it on Jesse's channel, and I was like, ooh, I should pick that up because it sounded pretty interesting. And I read it, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 to 5 stars. Simple book, very enjoyable. Kenneth Opel. And this was made in 2014, and I did not know that. I didn't know it was published then, or this new. But it was enjoyable, as I said, enjoyable, like 17 billion times this video. What the heck? Well, this was a good book, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that was my January wrap-up for 2015. What? So, I guess I'll see you later, guys. Take care, don't be a hater, and see you later.